Who let them dogs out? Or who let them dogs out? Who, who. I tell you what, today's episode is called Beware of the Dogs. And we're going to be talking about those 49ers wide receivers. Why? Because they're dogs. Stick around right here on the Wayne Breezie Show.
We so bright that we shining. All we know is the Niners. Red and gold at its finest. We so faithful to the bay. We so bright that we shining. All we know is the Niners. Red and gold at its finest. We so faithful to the bay. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Wayne Breezie. It's Monday. You already know we turned up. We turned up. 49ers had a victorious week. All right, the team won. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter if it's preseason or not, even though we were strictly evaluating. Now listen, before we get this show started, today is a very special day. I see the crew. I see the chat. It's already popping before the show even started. Today is the queen of nitty-gritty Niners talk, the one and only, the beautiful, vivacious. Y'all better show some love to Miss Peachy B, Crystal Peachy B. Today's her birthday. Y'all show her some love out there, y'all. Okay? Do it for me. Do it for you. She holds everybody down. She makes sure you know what you need to know when you need to know it. So make sure you guys show her some love. Happy birthday. And I tell you what, we're going to start the show off. Since this is the birthday, one and only birthday, we're going to start the show off. Now, if we got any other birthdays, y'all got to let me know. But I know this birthday. All right? So, voice is still recovering from a long wedding weekend. But we're going to give it a shot. I got to find me a key. Hold up. Me. That sounds good right there. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Peachy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Peachy. I'm hoping you're enjoying your beautiful morning and afternoon. All right. Any other birthday shout outs? Again, y'all gotta let me know. Send me a DM, something. I don't know. All right. But listen, great show we got planned for you guys. Look, I feel like the San Francisco 49ers have a type when it comes to the wide receiver position. And we realize that if you're going to be a wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, you got to be a dog. And speaking of dogs, I want to shout out the Breezie Bunch crew. They have been in the building early. The one and only Miss Debbie is here. Good morning, Wayne. Blessings to everyone joining this morning, all the BBs. Remember to hit that like button, guys. So make sure you hit that like button. You can also leave a comment in the comment section. Don't forget, if you're new to the stream, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Shout out to all the new subscribers to the channel. We have 185 new subscribers over the past 28 days. I want to show y'all some love. Thank y'all so much for subscribing to the channel. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. I'm hoping you're enjoying the content. But that's why you got to leave a comment, because that's the only way we'll know. All right? We want to make sure that this show is produced for you. It's for you. It's me here doing it, but it's for you. All right, let's go. Oh, my man Troy's in the building. Good morning, Breeze and family. Happy birthday to the queen. Peachy's giving a shout out on her own day. Good afternoon, Breezy and everyone. Let's have a great show. And one more game left until time to get ready for the 49ers regular season. You have no idea how freaking they showing you love too, Joker. What's going on, man? I see you out there. Coach Cruz is in the building. What's going on, baby? What's going on, Mike Eng, Eddie G, and the B-Dogs in the building. My man 49er Jeff. Hey, yo, I love what you do. And I want you to be on the show. How can I get you on this show, 49er Jeff? How can I get you on the show? I know, listen, I want to apologize to you on live air. because we met in Philly, but it was a weird meeting because I was tired I think I was in the car about to go to sleep. So if you don't know me, I'm always on the go and I'm trying to get sleep in where I could get sleep in. And then he comes up to me and I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And I felt like it wasn't the greeting I wanted to give you. So I do apologize for that, bro. But I hope we get a chance to meet again. Matter of fact, I'll be in Philly again. So hopefully we'll get a chance to meet again. And pretty much these other East Coast games, you know what I'm saying? So we got plenty of times to meet. But I do apologize, bro, for that. Black Orchid is in the building. What's going on? She says, happy birthday, Peachy, and hello. All right. So if I missed any members, my apology, but I like to definitely give you guys a shout out. You guys are members for a reason. Niner Cali boy with the happy birthday. My man Colin with the happy birthday. I love it. Don't bother me. Happy blessed birthday. Lake City, I see you out there, family. Appreciate all the Breezy Bunch crew members. Yeah, let's get to some 49ers news, all right? Because there's some stuff that's going on. Now, here's the latest stuff. The 49ers have signed a couple of players. All right. They signed wide receiver Anthony Miller. All right. And they also signed running back Brian Hill. Now you're probably like, damn, why are we signing another running back? Another running back. Well, let me change the decimals in my voice. Decibels, excuse me, in my voice. Well, what happens is running backs kind of get dinged up. All right. And so Jeremy McNichols ended up with a hamstring injury. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Oh, I see that, Marty Martin 49er. But I see you, baby. Week 1, baby. We'll get back to that. But here we go. Brian Hill is going to be the new addition. Now, he did have some time spent with the Niners. I think back in 2021, just like Jeremy McNichols. Interesting how they're bringing back running backs that are familiar with the system. I want to make sure you guys are aware of that, right? They're not bringing in these newbies. Now, they did let some running backs go over this past weekend. Kalen Laborn was let go, you know what I'm saying? And they decided to waive him for to sign some other people that they have on the roster. They let go, I believe, the other undrafted guy in Ronald Awa a little earlier during this preseason. So they are bringing in guys. I thought Jeremy McNichols looked pretty darn good out there. He was definitely a good, nice change of pace back once they put him in there for his sets. And now I think Brian Hill's going to get that role to help the 49ers get through camp. All right. And so, like, the 49ers running backs room is kind of wearing thin. And that's what happens in this particular type of an offense, because you got to be able to block. You got to be able to run the ball in between the tackles, and you got to find a way to get your behind outside. They also signed Anthony Miller, and this is probably due to the injury to Danny Gray, which we'll talk about in a second. All right. And so it's interesting to see what the 49ers are continuing to do. My question is, will Anthony Miller, who I think he'll fit well here, is he a dog? Like, does he fit the dog that the 49ers wide receivers require? Uncle Scott, what's going on, baby? I don't know. I won't know until he's in the uniform and we kind of test him out. I feel like there are a couple of wide receivers, the veteran wide receivers. I think we got 3 vet wide receivers right now, and Anthony Miller would be another one. I feel like those 3 wide receivers are filling in that dog pound very, very nice. I'm talking about Chris Conley. I'm talking about Willie Snead IV. And I know a lot of people aren't really showing Daz Newsome some love, but Daz Newsome looks pretty damn good in a 49ers uniform. He's number 84 for those that don't know who Daz Newsome is. So make sure you guys pay attention to these guys, especially in this next preseason game. I expect them to get a lot of burn out there after the starters go through their stint. All right. So look, Anthony Miller, Brian Hill, newest 49ers. I can't wait to see them in the red and gold, guys. I can't wait to see them in the red and gold. Since we're talking about news, let's talk about the players that are returning to practice. What's going on, Dina? Like, who's returning to practice? All right, so you didn't see Javon Kinlaw. You haven't seen Drake Jackson, and I know a lot of people are like, where are they? Well, they're recovering from injuries, right? They're returning from injuries, but they are planning to return to practice this upcoming week so that they can play against the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't know why when I say Los San Diego wants to come out, but listen, they've been San Diego for all my life. But the Los Angeles Chargers, who we will be playing in preseason 3, week 3 matchup, all right? George Kittle is returning. Ooh. Elijah Mitchell is coming back. Ooh. Drake Greenlaw's coming back. Ugh, yes, God. Drake Jackson, who I want to see out there. I don't know about you, but I want to see Drake Jackson out there. All right. And Khalil Davis, I want to see, does Khalil Davis take a step up? Because you can see there's some players on that defensive interior that are trending. They're upwards, right? They're going up, right? I'm talking about T.Y. McGill. I'm talking about Marlon Davidson. I'm talking about the interior, man, like Kevin Givens. Like, these guys aren't trying to move out the way for anybody. So Khalil Davis has a hill to climb. Listen, the comp was another DJ Jones. Okay, the comp was another DJ Jones. And so we're going to see what happens. I hope Khalil Davis, gets out there and has some good practicing. But I'm excited, man. Kinlaw will be back. I'm most excited for Elijah Mitchell. I'm kind of biased toward running backs. I don't know if you noticed this yet, but I really love my running backs. Now, I'm telling you, CMC with Elijah Mitchell, good gosh. And then you got TDP and Jordan Mason battling for like that 2, 3, 4 spot. I feel like TDP is currently leading the spot, but don't count out Jordan Mason. I feel like he can easily take over, especially if he's the better run or pass protector as a running back, right? If he's a better pass protector. Brandon Ben says McNichols was looking I'm telling you, bro. I don't know how Kyle and Bobby and Coach Lynn, I don't know how those coaches, they just know which running backs fit. They have a system, and it took them a minute to build the system. And now that the system of the running backs has been built, they know exactly which ones to put in. Jeremy McNichols was looking crisp. Bro, he was coming in the game, and I'm like, yeah. Giving me kind of like Tico Raw vibes. You know what I'm saying? That veteran in the building. But again, we'll get to the injuries, very quickly. Listen, I always got to shout out the mentor. Listen, I was with you last night, bro. I hope you had a great second gig. I'm hoping you're feeling better. I know you got to work tonight, but if you could take one night off, one night only, Timmy Maya, if you could take one night off, this is my mentor, y'all. Take it off, man. Get healthy, because if y'all thought I was the hardest working man in show business, you guys, I'll try to start going live from the shows that I'm blessed to be on with Timmy Maya, so you guys can see that this is where Breezie gets it from, right? Like that's where I get it from. But this man works like 7 days a week. 8 days a week, and I don't even think there's 8 days in the week, man. But Timmy, we love you, man. I appreciate you. He's a Cowboys fan, y'all. But I tell you what, he supports me, and he supports the Niners because that's me. That's what I love about him. Like, he's the only person I know that be like, all right, man, I know you got to travel this year. Can you do these dates? And then I hit him with a last minute okey doke, like, yo, man, I gotta go to Phoenix. All right, man, go on to Phoenix. I know you're doing what you do. But I tell you what, Timmy says that I belong on ESPN. You guys agree? I think if I'm on ESPN, I will bring ESPN back to life. I really do. ESPN, if you're watching, help me resurrect you. I'm telling you. Let's get this show on ESPN. All right, let's get to Dre Greenlaw's being back. That's a bonus. But I love what we're seeing from our linebackers. George Kittle, I don't even think he needs to practice or play. I don't want Kittle touching the football field, period, until it counts. I mean, I love him. I'm not saying he's brittle or fragile. What does he have to prove? I feel like Trent Williams and George Kittle just shouldn't play. They don't need to play. I feel like they're going to be just fine week 1 when they're ready to go, and it counts against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's just my theory. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that. That's just kind of like how I feel. But listen, I tell you what, he's a starter, so he'll be out there this Friday night. I can tell you that. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you that. Look, my man Coach Cruz says nothing is bringing that channel back to life. Oh, man, dang. When I first read it, I was just like, oh, man. But then the way you ended it, the cap off, Coach Cruz, my guy. That was a dope cap off, man. I love you, man. My man Mikey Kibb, Travel Bud 710 says, listen, they couldn't handle the pauses. Notice how there's no pauses when I do the Wayne Breezie show. But when Nitty Gritty Niners is on, the pauses come out. Because what had happened is y'all. That's what happens. It's y'all. It's y'all. All right. So listen, that's the latest in 49ers news. I know people want news on Nick Bosa, but can we just stay hopeful about Nick Bosa? Like things are going to trend upwards. Like I'm not worried about Nick Bosa signing with the 49ers. I told you my only concern. There's only a small concern, and it shouldn't really be a concern because Nick Bosa is always tip top shape. But it's just when he gets out there and gets hit incidentally, like right when he's not applying the hit, he just gets hit by something else, by a stray leg or on the sideline. It be them stupid things that I be worried about. But I tell you what, Nick Bosa, he'll be here. Not too worried about it. There's no news to break on that. Let's get to the injuries because this is where it's going to get a little crazy, right? So you got Danny Gray with the SC joint expected to miss a week. Jeremy McNichols, hamstring, few weeks. Kerry Hyder with a shoulder sting to be determined. They're going to try to have him ready to go week 1, which is only in a couple of weeks. And so with Kerry Hyder Jr. being out, this is to me that's a hit to the depth, to the rotation on the edge, right? Like Kerry Hyder to me, it's like Nick Bosa, Kerry Hyder, Cleveland Farrell, and then maybe Drake Jackson. I feel like that's the order of the depth chart on the edge. So like I would start. I think I would start Bosa. Maybe Farrell's higher than Hyder. I don't know. It all comes down to what they're doing. But I do feel like Kerry Hyder Jr. is a pass rusher, and the 49ers are finally getting him back to his natural position opposed to that experiment bullshit they was doing last year, right? I need you on the interior. All right, man, they're going to go play the exterior. Man, he wasn't built for that. But shout out to Kerry Hyder for doing it, and y'all got to show Kerry Hyder some love for the simple fact that he chose the 49ers. He chose the 49ers. He chose as a free agent to re-sign with this team. That should show that this man is about his business. I got to give him a round of applause that he watching enough. But again, he's dealing with the injury, little hamstring injury. You guys know hamstring injuries are nagging injuries. They happen. And so we're hoping he can treat that, get that. I mean, he's dealing with the shoulder stinger. I'm sorry. So we're hoping he can treat that. It's a stinger. He should be good to go. As far as the hamstring injury, that's the nagging one. So that's the one you got to pay attention to. I didn't have Jeremy McNichols making the roster, but dang, I had him making the practice squad and if available, being a guy that could come in and fill in. So the 49ers wouldn't skip a beat at the running back spot. And so, yeah, it's unfortunate. My man Slick68 says, did I hear right? Did I hear right about Taco Chart and what's the IR out for the year? Yeah. So what happens is if the players are designated to go to the IR, technically they're out for a year. I think there's a clause in that, and I could be wrong. But if you notice, this would be the third person that they placed, defensive player to be exact, that they actually placed on the IR, and the other two players, they settled for injury settlements. So I'm thinking they're going to do the same thing with Taco Charlton and then find a way after the roster situation happens. Because I like they put him on IR, but they can settle for an injury settlement. So like then he would no longer be under contract. They'll buy out the contract, take the injury settlement money, and then he'll be free. I don't think anybody will pick him up. That's how I look at it. I don't think anybody would pick him up. They didn't. We saw flashes at camp, but you didn't see anything to flash during a game. I think that's by design. Kyle Shanahan does everything by design. Everything. Everything's by design. So I just want to put that out there. I feel like what's going on, Rick? I feel like this is a move. Did they disclose his injury? I don't remember if they even disclosed Taco's injury. Like usually they don't disclose the injury. They just designate them to the IR. Now, the reason why they have to do stuff like this is mainly because you know the rules of the IR, right? If you put a person on IR before they make the team, they're out for the season. And then after they make the team, then you have those IR spots that you can use, but you can only bring back players a certain amount of time. I don't think you want to use up any of those spots yet. Plus, you got guys like Ray McLeod and those players who I feel like are gonna make the roster injured and then placed on the PUP or the IR. So there's a lot of shuffling that they got to do when it comes to that. So Slick 68, yeah, you're right. He is on the IR. He is out for the year. But I'm curious to know if the 49ers will pick him up and like stash him or do something. I don't know. I don't know how they work around that. But sucks for Taco Charlton because he was having an amazing camp. What a great pickup. But I think they got what they needed to get out of him, and now they know he can play on this defense. You know what I'm saying? Niner faithful, I'm with you. You know, he's a Michigan guy. I'm with you, bro. You know what I mean? But it is, man. That's what it is, man. Listen, those are the injuries. All right. Let's do a quick recap of the game. 21-20, 49ers defeated the Denver Broncos. And for me, you know, I wanted this win. I don't know why I wanted it so bad. Probably because it was a preseason home game. And I just don't want the 49ers to start losing at home under any circumstances. I don't care if it's preseason, whatever. I just don't want them to lose at home. This year, I'm hoping they continue to be the road warriors that they are, but they play better at home. Like, they defend home. Like, home means everything. And so don't let anybody walk into your house and get a dub. That's the way I want the 49ers. I'm hoping they have that mindset. But the 49ers defeated the Denver Broncos 21-20. It wasn't in high fashion, but what I got out of the game was Trey Lance was out there, ended the game, fourth quarter, led his team to a victory. I mean, that's pretty much how you want to sum it up, because I can tell right now, I already heard some national media negativity on Trey Lance already, saying how he had a bad game. He's just not it. And I don't understand how the national media can watch the game, which I know that they don't watch. They don't watch the 49er games. They watch the highlights. They put the highlights and they be like, oh, okay. Now, I don't understand how they get that when Trey Lance, you know, went 12 for 18, 173 yards. He had a touchdown pass. This wasn't a questionable touchdown pass. It wasn't questionable. It was a bomb to Cameron Latou. Wide open. Down the middle of the field. Not questionable. Open. Perfect pass. Perfect touchdown. He did have an interception on a screen pass that I thought the offensive line just got obliterated at the snap, and it was just like bam, and he just didn't get the ball over the defender, who had to raise his hand in the air to tip the ball down. But other than that, he looked good, more decisive, everything. Now, why does the national media have to continue to paint this bad narrative about Trey Lance? I don't know. But here you go with the stuff. Here you go with everything. Oh, yep, Trey Lance was with the third string and the fourth string. Let me just remind you, because I just finished watching the film. There were a couple of starters that have started in the NFL that were out there as fourth stringers. I'll give you two. They were edge rushers, Randy Gregory, and y'all should know the other one. So they had some guys out there still trying to get to Trey Lance, who to me was just under the rest the whole time. At the end of the day, Trey is going to face negativity for the rest of his life. It doesn't matter. He's going to have to literally find a way to come in the game, win a Super Bowl, and they're still going to critique that. We know, and we're okay, and we're happy that Brock Purdy is the starter for the San Francisco 49ers, because I can tell you right now, Brock Purdy gives the 49ers the best chances of winning. They do. He does. He does. I watched it. I watched Brock Purdy come out, and he didn't skip a mother-loving beat. He was on point, highly accurate. I don't care if they were screen passes, dink and dunks, whatever. They were rollouts. It doesn't matter. This was the plays. He had to execute the plays. He executed the plays. He should have been 5 for 5 with a touchdown pass to Ross Dwelly. What had happened was he was 4 for 5. Never mind. And Ross Dwelly, who was wide open in the end zone, doesn't get the target because there was a particular couple of people, Jalen Moore on the left side. And then my man TDP, I've been vouching for you all season. Like, you can't miss a block. You have to pass protect. You can't blame Kyle Juszczyk because his job was to take the end and make his route to the quarterback a little different, which he did. It's kind of like a chip. So if you got the end coming, right, and he goes up and he goes out for the pass, he was the outlet for the pass. TDP missed both of the defenders. Both of them. Actually split the two of them, dove, hit the ground, and they just was right at Brock. So that, to me, wasn't even on Brock Purdy. And if you want to know why he didn't hit the wide open Ross Dwelly, is because he had zero time to readjust to get the ball out. And if he hung that ball out in the air, it probably would have been a pick six. So Brock Purdy played well. I thought Sam Darnold came in and played like Sam Darnold. I don't know about y'all. I'm not expecting much from Sam Darnold. I'm expecting him to go out there and execute. But Trey Lance, he just made, I wouldn't say that, I felt like he had a couple of wild plays, right? Like pressure in his face, escapes the pressure, gets to the outside, hits Tay Martin on as a moving target. And to me, Trey Lance's best throw of that evening was the Tay Martin, and he dropped it. So at the end of the day, the national media is going to always try to paint their narrative on what they want, and they're going to use Trey Lance. He's the target. And I like what Trey Lance did. He came out, took all the negative criticism, all the constructive criticism, all the criticism, right? I felt like they all negative. He took it, and he came out this week and made y'all eat y'all words. And I'm talking about the national media. Made the national media eat the words. And again, drove the team down there. And I will tell you this. Trey Lance got that ball down there to that goal line. Nice run by TDP to kind of set everything up, right? And then all of a sudden, they had a minute left, and boom. They bring in my man Jake. Jake Moody comes in the game. And shout out to Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan gets the shout out because Jake Moody had already missed an extra point, but he had made 2 field goals prior. This would have been the third field goal and probably the most important kick of his life, even though it's a preseason game, because this game was for that kick was for the win. So a lot of people are still down on Jake Moody because they feel like he's struggling. But let me just remind y'all, Jake Moody, regardless of how great he was in college, he did miss. And on top of that, he is a rookie. And so why do our expectations change depending on the position? Like, no, rookies kind of have to come in on and figure stuff out. I know kickers, we think because kickers aren't hit, kickers aren't, giving hits. No, there's still a lot and tons of pressure. You got to give the kid time to get acclimated. We talked about this last night in the Overreaction show, to get acclimated to the game. It's a different game. It's a different monster on his shoulder, right? I think the more he kicks, the better and more comfortable he's going to feel. That's just kind of like how I see that. We got a new member, and we're going to go ahead and shout him out right now. Mike and Kim Travel Bud 710, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, man, for becoming a member of the channel. It says you're a new member, but I felt like you've been a member. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you nonetheless. And guys, if you want to join the Breezy Bunch crew, just click the join button right there. All right. And so listen, man, I know a lot of people are hard on Moody, but listen, I'm gonna say he's continuing to find ways to get better, right? He missed 2 field goals week 1, came back and hit not 1, not 2, but 3 field goals. And so he misses an extra point. Oh, well, I tell you what, he would have redeemed that extra point. He would have redeemed the extra point. Can I throw Brandon Ayuk under the bus, or no? We don't get it. We're not allowed to throw Brandon Ayuk under the bus. I'm just curious to know, because Brandon Ayuk decided to celebrate after the touchdown pass to Cameron Latou, and he wants to get on the field, and because of that, they get a 15-yard penalty. And so now, if Kyle was going to go for the 2-point conversion, he had no choice but to go for the 2-point conversion because he was 95 yards away from the damn end zone. So there was no kick that could have made 95 yards. And next thing you know, it's what happened. But that's my point. That's my point. Now I see 49er Jeff says, but I'm curious to know, like, why? Like, why are we worried? Why are we so worried if this is when he's trying to get out there and get the jitters out. Isn't that what preseason's for? Isn't that what practice is for? You know what I'm saying? Now, come real game, if he goes on a kicking slump, then I think we can start to be worried. I don't think this is a trajectory for him going downwards. I just feel like it's a preseason game. He gonna make some, he gonna miss some. But the whole point is, how does he come out here and correct his mistakes? Is he pressing, like, is he pushing the ball a certain way? Like, it all depends. And so I feel like that's the only reason why I'm not worried. But again, if this is happening week 3, week 4, week 5, I think we can start adding the worry factor to, you know what I'm saying, to the joint. You know what I mean? But right now, let the kid continue to kick. And I like that. My point was that Kyle Shanahan decided to say, I don't care if we got a minute. I know Trey Lance. Let me tell you how dope Kyle Shanahan is. I know he gets a bad vibe. I don't care how good you are, Trey Lance. I know you can score right here. There's so many things we can do. I trust it. I want my kicker to come out here and win this game. The situation he put Kylie, if you don't leave me alone, the situation that he put Jake Moody in was dope. That was pressure. We watched Jake Moody get iced week 1, and then Kyle Shanahan put him in the game-winning decision week 2. 49ers win 21-20. Good game overall, right? Probably one of the most interesting preseason games we as the faithful have ever watched in our entire lives, right? It wasn't dull. It wasn't boring. The start, you didn't care who the backups were. Like, I think Kyle Shanahan is doing shit for entertainment purposes. That's why I think Trey Lance was the third person to come out there, because he knew that Trey Lance would keep the ratings up. I would say that. A lot of people saying they were spoiled with Gold. I understand. Gold missed during the regular season, man, but he didn't miss in the playoffs. I get it, but Gold's also been in the league for 90. He's a dinosaur. You know what I mean? And it's not that, I don't even think it's not that the 49ers didn't want Gold back. I think Gold just wanted like $7, $8, $9 million. I don't know about you, but I ain't paying no kicker $8, $9 million when we got other players. Not to say that they're more important, but we got other players that we have to pay their kind of premiums to. I think the only person they willing to pay right now is Nick Bosa. They're gonna need that $7, $8, $9 million. That's how I look at it when it comes to Robbie Gold. But other than that, listen, it's Jake Moody or Zane Gonzalez, and we haven't seen Zane kick in the preseason. That's a good thing for Jake Moody. So I think he's continuing to find ways to trend upwards. You know what I'm saying? That's just my thoughts. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about these wide receivers. That's what I want to know. And I'm going to open up the phone lines, because I want to know from you, like, how do you feel about this wide receiving core? I don't know if you remember, but on the earlier shows before preseason started, before training camp started, I kept telling y'all to watch the wide receiver group. I kept saying that it's going to be tough to crack this wide receiver group because you got dogs out there, and you got to be a dog in order to be in this wide receiving core. All right. Now, here's my question. Do the 49ers, and I know this is a biased show, I'm not saying do they have the best wide receivers in the league, but as a core, do they have the best core of wide receivers? And I know it's going to be hard to determine because when you look at the top 1, the top 2, or maybe even the 3, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to be like, oh, well, this team. And I want honest opinions, but I'm talking about as far as the core. I think the 49ers are changing up the way that they do things. I think they always wanted dogs, and they've had to, file through different types of wide receivers in order to get them. They had to. Don't forget, there's a poll question going on right now. I want to know which one of the wide receivers is the most feared as a dog. You got Ronnie Bell up there, who's just had the most amazing preseason game probably as a wide receiver in 49ers history, right? Seven receptions, on 9 targets, 100+ yards. He didn't have a TD. He did have a ball that went through his hands. Can't wait to break that down on the Patreon. But all I'm saying is, I thought we got some dogs. Jawan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. Now listen, this isn't about how well they play. This is about the mentality. So I want to know when you guys call in, like, the dog mentality? Do the 49ers wide receiving core pump fear into the NFL? That's my question. Does the 49ers I'm making this up on the spot too. I know if you could tell. Does the 49ers wide receiving core pump fear, all caps, fear into the NFL defenses? Let's see. I want to know what your take on that is. I'll end the show with my take. All right. And let's have some fun. All right. So, guys, I'm putting the link inside of the chat as we speak. There is the question right there on the bottom of the screen. You can start getting it together. You know how we do. Oh, and Debster says, don't forget about Kittle. The only reason why I don't put Kittle in there is because to me, Kittle's the icing on the cake. Not every team has a Kittle. So just to be fair, I kind of leave Kittle out because he is a dog. He is, but he's not a part of the wide receiving core, even though he's a part of the receiving core. If I put Kittle in there, I got to add CMC. I got to add, you know what I'm saying? So I try to keep Kittle a little bit separate. Just a little bit separate. All right, Debster. But you're right. He is Kittle is a different type of dog, too. Like, I'm trying to figure out what dog would Kittle be, right? He's just a different type of dog. He's like just don't mess with Kittle. I see my man Case 49 out here. Let's go ahead and get him on the show. What's going on, fam?
Yo, Breezie, what's going on, baby? Thanks for having me on, man.
Anytime, bro. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man, no doubt, man. I've been trying to get on somebody's show, man. My phone don't want to work with me. I was trying to get on Ryan's show yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to get on Croc this morning. StreamYard kept booting me out. But yo, I'm glad you on the topic of dogs, right?
Yes, sir.
Because, you know, last night Steve Wilkes looked a little bad, man. You know what I mean? Steve Wilkes looked bad because he told us that Isaiah Oliver was the top nickel on the free agent market. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I kind of questioned it when he said it at the time. I was like, nobody is, questioning Isaiah Oliver being the best nickel on the market. But that tackle he whiffed on and the dude ran for a first down and extended the drive, that was crazy. So, he kind of lost out on that. And then the middle of the defensive line just keep getting pushed back like that. We need to sign Sue, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We probably don't got the money to sign Sue, but we need to get somebody in the middle to plug up the middle to stop the run because that was kind of wild. But back on your topic of dogs, though, right? I think Debo is the most feared right now, but they're feared up until a certain point, Breezy.
Okay, let's hear this point.
They're feared up until we get into the playoffs, you know, because by the time we get into the playoffs, our receivers are beat up.
Ooh.
I'm gonna get into. I'm gonna
Can
get
I
into. Go
can I
ahead. Go ahead.
push back just a little bit? I don't want to cut you off. This is your time. I slightly disagree because it seems like to me Debo Samuel always shows up in the playoffs. Name one bad playoff game he had, except for the one in Philly because we didn't have a quarterback. But he always shows up. It just seems like Kyle stops giving him the ball.
I understand what you're saying, man, but go back and think about the Green Bay game where we barely won. We only won because of the block field goal or the block punt or whatever.
Bad weather
You know
too.
what I mean?
It was bad weather game.
Debo sacrificed everything in that game. Like he was bleeding, like he had nothing left. This is why we can't win the Super Bowl. Now I'm gonna go into a little bit of a conspiracy theory here, so don't everybody get mad at me, but it's kind of what I do a little bit because I'm a deep thinker. You know what I mean? I'm a thinker like Trey. That's Trey's whole problem too.
That's
He's a
his
thinker.
problem. He overthinks. He overthinks.
Exactly. Like I wonder if Trey be like throwing up before the game, like Willie Beeman and all that. You know what I'm saying? It seems like he can't handle the TV. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
TV pressure and people looking at him. It's like, he gets so mad at himself. He puts so much pressure on himself, you know what I mean? But I just think he needs to mature a little bit in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Like he's
Yep.
very intelligent, very talented, but how mature is he? You know what I mean? Like I remember when it was his rookie year and I was watching like some Instagram clip and he was just like, on his little brother's shoulders, jumping in the pool, laughing like a little kid. And I was just like, wow. It kind of
Mm.
shocked me a little bit, not to say, him and his brother showing love, not to say nothing wrong with that. It just kind of showed me the level of mentality that Trey was on at that time. He's kind of young spirited. He's kind of goofy a little bit, man. You know what I'm saying? But I just wonder if he can I wonder if he could fight. You know what I mean? Like the football player in me kind of just wonders if Trey can fight. Like, do Trey have hands? You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
kind of feel like Purdy has hands. I know Sam probably don't have no hands, but I just wonder if Trey has hands. I think it might help him if he do like a little boxing with Fred Warner, kind of like how Ambry Thomas and them did. You
Yeah.
know, get a little bit of toughness, man. Get that edge on you, man, for real, because it's a game of men. And if you don't show your dominance right away, then they're gonna try to play you. They're gonna try to push you to the back.
They gonna
But
punk you. Yeah.
but I'm wondering if the whole divide, because Jimmy never lost his job to injury. You know, when Jimmy went out with the shoulder sprain or whatever, and Trey had to come in and win the must-win game, and he won it, Jimmy came right back the next game, right?
Yeah. Be- because he was worried about losing his job to Trey. But that I felt like that set us up for failure too, because when we got to that NFC Championship game against the Rams, Jimmy was beat up.
Exactly.
But
So
see, that lets me know that Trey Lance, even though he wasn't ready, Kyle might have been ready to pull a different trigger, but Jimmy came back and was like, nah, I'm good to go. I'm good to go. I'm good to go. So Kyle's gonna usually stick with the starting quarterback because that's who he deemed to be the starter. I feel like if Trey Lance would have came back last year, regardless, and I know this is crazy, regardless of how well Brock Purdy played, I think he would have put Trey Lance back in the game. I know people not going to agree with me, but to me, that seems like Kyle Shanahan's MO. Like, if I deem you as a starter and you could play, I'm going to let you rock out. Like, that's kind of what Kyle does. And that's what he's doing with Brock now because he was willing to move forward with Trey and then get Sam in here for some competition because he thought Brock was going to be injured a lot longer or take a lot longer to come back. And then the moment Brock was cleared, Brock goes right back to that starting position because he's not going to lose his job. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just a weird catch 22 situation that we just got to look at it and say, hey, it's the best scenario for us. We just got to be willing to embrace each one of them. It's three different scenarios, and this is what they want. So we got to find a way to embrace it. So from what I
yeah,
saw in the game, Brock was back to being efficient. He didn't look like he looked like what Brock Purdy would look like at the beginning of a game. Quick, efficient throws, highly accurate throws, get the team in the scoring position, and then they'll start ramping it up later. I loved everything I saw from Brock Purdy. When
yeah.
Trey Lance came in the game, it was the same game plan. For the first fucking time, sorry for cursing, I felt like it was the same game plan. Quick, efficient throws, get into a rhythm, get your team in the scoring position. Trey's first series was an interception. Guess what? Shook it off, came back, got the team and scored a touchdown. That is what we want. Sam Darnold, same thing. Went 3 and out, came back, touchdown. So like, I feel like we starting to get into some rhythm the more closer we get to the season starts. But I think right now you gotta rock with Brock. He just looked the crispest, I guess.
I just feel like he shouldn't have lost his job to injury if Jimmy didn't lose
That's
his job.
fair.
But really quick though, man, before I let you go, man, I just want to say, like, you know what I mean? Did you see Ayuk run out on the field for Trey though? You know what I'm saying?
And I loved it. But he cost me 15 motherfucking yards, and he
Yeah,
forced Trey Lance to make a play out of no play. Like, you know what I mean?
right,
Like that was a long ass
right,
2 point conversion. But no,
right.
I love it. And that is what we need. We need the players to stick up for the players. They're all 49er players. They all wear red and gold, bro. And when he came out on that field to amp up his quarterback, that right there let me know that y'all can miss me with all that BS, yo. Like
What
that.
if No, I was just gonna say, what if Ayuk and Debo are pulling for Trey? What if they want Trey to play because Trey looks for receivers down the field? You see what I'm saying? And there's less traffic, less wear and tear on their bodies if they're catching the ball down the field. Shanahan doesn't care. He'll run a play into a ground until there's nothing left. He wants you to go over the middle. He wants you to catch slants, catch crossers, get hit, dink and dunk. Yeah, dink and dunk. Yeah, you run up the clock, but you also put a lot of wear and tear on your players.
Yeah.
That's why George Kittle is injured all the time. You see what I'm saying? Like Debo and Ayuk, they want the ball down the field. Shanahan wants them to catch it over the middle because he don't care about their health. But just I think that Trey might be in the doghouse, just like Ayuk was in the doghouse, because I
Possibly.
think Trey might be challenging Kyle Shanahan's coaching. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's putting him in the doghouse. Trey is very intelligent. One of the things Kyle Shanahan liked about Trey when he drafted him, he said, his X's and O's were impeccable. You know what I'm saying? He actually challenged me on a few things when we were going over the X's and O's in the interview. So Trey is very smart on the board with the X's and O's. You know what I mean? He has a little maturity level issue. He needs to stay off of social media. Shout out to Russell Wilson for sticking up for Trey too. You
Oh,
know
and
what I
his
mean?
presser,
Coming out
yeah.
as
Yeah,
a brother, you know what I'm saying, recognizing that the young kid is being unfairly treated. He came out and stood up for him. And that's one of our fierce enemies, you know what I mean?
for
But
sure.
he said, Trey, you need to stay off of social media, man. Like block out
It's
the noise. And I think that's really what his problem is. But I also think that he's challenging Shanahan because I don't think that he believes we can win the Super Bowl dinking and dunking all of our way through. Shanahan thinks we can. I think we need to throw the ball down the field more to keep our receivers and our offense fresh at the end of the year so we can actually make it over the hump. That's all I had
ah,
to say.
way to bring it back to the beginning. I like that. That was
Yeah.
way to bring that and connect it all full circle. That was pretty dope because that's what you started off with saying. Our receivers are pretty banged up toward the playoffs, and then you
Yeah.
find a way to connect it. You feel like we should go down the field and stretch the field out a little bit more and stop
Mhm.
all the dinky dunks and the yak and all that type. Listen, it's a possibility. You can tell Trey is in some type of a house of Kyle Shanahan's because last week he was trying to dial up the big play and there was just no time. But he was trying to let Kyle Shanahan say, "Look, I could do this." You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And then
Right.
this week he didn't do any of that, bro. Like none
Yeah.
of it. He
Man.
was letting it rip. Like quick
Man.
throws, read, open, bam, it's gonna be there,
Yo.
right?
Some of
I
those
want
passes I saw were amazing. Like you didn't even know the
like,
two caught it. I was like, did he
bro.
catch it? Like it was
That
such
Willie
a tight
sneak catch
window.
was phenomenal, bro.
Oh
You
my
want to talk
God.
about tight window?
Yeah. I
Listen,
could see Greg Papa getting hot as Trey was doing. He was like, well, hold on. He's
that's a whole
lighting
nother
up here.
conversation, bro. Whole
Man.
nother conversation. I've never seen 49ers commentators or people that like downplay the 49ers. Like you're supposed to find a way to big them up, not put them down. Like so why not highlight what he did and eat your own words? That's a whole
Yeah.
nother that's a conversation we got to have like
Yeah, that's another
YouTube after
conversation.
dark or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Fuck Greg Papa, man, straight up. And that doesn't reflect Wayne Breezy. This is Case 49's point of view. Fuck Greg Papa, man. All
I
right?
heard you. I
That's
heard
it.
you.
I'm out,
I
man.
heard you. Appreciate you, bro. All right, man. That's my man Case 49. CJ Gray, you ready, baby? Let's get you on here. All right. What's going on, man?
All right, man. I had to switch. Man, I had to connect you to my work laptop, yo, because my personal laptop, that mess is trash. It messed me up at 2 damn shows in a row, and I can't mess with it no more.
Listen, I think there's a laptop bug that has been inserted into the world of laptops because my MacBook Pro keeps turning off. Like it won't restart. It won't turn on. It'll turn on, but it won't let me get into the system. All of a sudden. And so it's a bug saying go get a new one. And I'm like, nah. That's what happened. That's what's going on right now. But let's talk, man. What you got, man? Listen, 49ers wide receiving core, Case 49 talked about him a little bit in a different way. I thought that was pretty cool. He feels like they do fear, but come down to the playoffs, they don't put fear into the teams because they're beat up. I'm curious to know what your take on this is.
Well, I'll start with the whole fear thing. I'll get to that first, and then I'll address Case 49. I think the style of play and the mentality is what teams do fear. They do fear it because even Ronnie Bell's came in, and Ronnie Bell looks like a Jawan Jennings, looks like a Debo Samuel, looks like a Brandon Ayuk, gets the ball and runs through people and don't care if there's 2 or 3 people hanging on. Man, that stiff arm, man, he stiff armed that boy to hell Saturday night, man. I think that dude is still the imprint of him is still in the turf from Ronnie Bell's stiff arm, yo.
That's that Jim Harbaugh stiff arm. And if you can't stiff arm and you are a ball carrier, you can't get that arm fully extended and get them down there, then you don't belong playing football. That's that Jim Harbaugh right there. Y'all, we know about that. He was here. We know about it.
Yeah, that stiff arm was no joke, man. But what Case 49 was saying about the players being injured and the Shanahan scheme and all that, I think that's partly true. I think it's partly true of the mentality of the player. Like Kittle's running to the sideline. Man, he ain't stepping out of bounds. He's gonna cut inside and he's gonna try to run through 2 or 3 people.
Every single time.
If that's Debo, he's doing the same thing.
Every single time. If you can catch him. Every single time.
So I think it's more of the lines of the mentality of the player, because you could have these schematics and stuff like that, but the schematics don't tell you to just say, hey, I want to cut inside and get another 5 or 6 yards running over these dudes. So I think you could tie it into Shanahan's scheme, but you could also tie it into the players and their mentality. And it's hard to turn that mentality off, because you rather have somebody that's over the top than not enough on a football field. You want them on 100. You don't want them on a 50, you know? So it's hard to take that play out of them. So, but I love our receivers. I love that mentality. I love that hard-nosed football. Nobody in the NFL plays like us. Nobody got that. Nobody got these dogs like we got. And so that's a mentality by the players that John Lynch drafts and scouts, and then the coaching of Shanahan. And so I love it. But we're going to talk about Trey Lance real quick, since Case 49 brought him up as well. My opinion of Trey Lance still stands. I love what he did out there. I love that he hit his back foot and he let it go. He actually, that played, what's that man's name? Latu. He started off, he dropped back, he looked to the left, he held the safety, and then when the safety was out of position, turned that back around and did hit his. It was
the eyes, bro. It was the eyes.
I like that.
He caught it all, and add to that too, because I was watching the film. Like, he stayed in the pocket. Like, a lot of people be like, he can't. He want to get out the pocket. Nah, when any quarterback, in my opinion, when they trust that pocket is secure, they're willing to let it rip and stay in there and get that ball out at that very last moment, which is what I felt like he did. And he found the right read, took the safety out of the play, wide open, Caramel 2 for a touchdown.
But despite that, my opinion kind of stays the same about him. Just that, not that he won't be, because he won't be a good quarterback, because nobody could say that after 3 complete games starting and finishing. I mean, Jamarcus Russell's got more grades. Ryan Leaf got more grades. Tim Couch got more grades. Tim Tebow got tons of grades. Tim Tebow got they rolled the red carpet out for the dude and everything. Starting quarterback. I mean, it was clear the man can't throw the football at all. And he got to play all these games. It was clear he couldn't throw it. Man, he got team chance after chance after chance after chance. So to say that Trey's not going to be a good quarterback, that's just being overzealous, being blasphemous, and it seems like you have an agenda if you make those statements. But as far as quarterback at the 49ers, he's got to have, somebody's going to have to get hurt for him to get this chance.
Right.
And if nobody gets hurt, then if you put him on the field as he is, you're going to get some of what he gave you in the first game, and he's going to give you some of the stuff in the second game. He's going to give you all that in the same game, because he hasn't played.
He's like the perfect storm, right? Because you're going to get rough Trey Lance to start, and then the adjustment Trey Lance, and then good stuff from Trey Lance. And that's what it's going to be. And because he doesn't have the experience or the reps or all that type of stuff that most of the quarterbacks have in the NFL, because he lacks that's why he's getting all the negative attention. And when he does the positive stuff, it's like they can't let go of the negative stuff. And it's not like the negative stuff causes the team to be in some type of crazy ass hole, bro. He just don't hit the wide open guy right away at first, because he's trying to make a play particularly down the field. That's his mentality, right? Like, listen, I know I can rip this ball to the guy, and I know my guy's gonna get open. He has a rapport with Chris Conley, bro, like none other. I feel like he has that same rapport though with Brandon Ayuk, but they pushed him down on the depth
Oh,
chart.
Tay Martin too, man.
And,
Tay
and,
Martin. Oh, Tay Martin.
listen, Tay can't drop that pass, bro. Like Tay, if the ball was hot and you wasn't expecting it and you dropped it, cool. Tay Martin, that was a Jawan Jennings type of drop. I don't want Tay Martin to do that drop. It was right there in the breadbasket. Gotta come up with that. That's a big game. But I tell you what, he looked good. These wide receivers are crazy. And notice we ain't even talked about Tay Martin or Chris Conley yet, and some of these other depth at wide receivers. It's a dog house full of dogs, bro. And I think the mentality of the wide receiver is like beware of the dog. Because if you're not that mentality, you can't play wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers.
And then last about Trey Lance and that dude making that stupid statement, oh, he had no instinct from the time he got pulled out of the crib mess. It's like Trey Lance in year 1 had a broken finger that never recovered throughout the entire season.
That's a fact.
And year 2, he broke his foot, which he was out all season.
That's another fact.
So basically, Trey Lance hadn't even been Trey Lance for his first 2 seasons that he's played in the NFL, as you know him. And so to say that with this limited amount of time that we've seen him on the field as he was coming out of college, the health and state that he was in coming out of college, we have not hardly seen it. So to say that it's just a failure and just be done with it like that. These guys have some type of agenda or something. I've never seen this before with anybody.
I'm going to give you this question from East Coast Niner. He says, why was he the only one without a sack in this game? The pressures was there. First play, pressure in his face. He hits Tay Martin on that.
Oh, yeah, that's that sideline, that smooth sideline toe drag slash. What is it, toe drag slash?
That's all I'm like, yo, don't sleep on Tay Martin, bro. Like, this is crazy. But nah, seriously, like, certain the reason why I'm going to let you answer this question, you mentioned it already. You talked about instinct. And sometimes after you got out there and got sacked 4 times, you like never again. And so now you could play a little bit differently because you know my offensive line is going to melt down. I know I got to get the ball out quicker now. It didn't register to him until that drive that he had with that touchdown pass to where he had to get the ball out quicker. But I want you to take a crack at this question, man, before I get gammon on here.
He's the only one without a sack, I guess, just because he made a move. He made a move right away, man. He avoided the sack and he got out of there. I mean, I don't know. He was just more decisive in that game. But as far as why the other 2 got sacked, I think Sam on a couple of those, they were on him like as soon as he hiked the ball, man. Now,
doesn't that sound familiar though? That's my point. That last week, second team, offensive line struggled. Trey Lance had pressure in his face like every drop back as soon as he hiked the ball. And I know he pump faked here or there. He was trying to get defenders to bite on some of the stuff. And even in this game, there was a throw somebody pointed out. He could have hit him wide open. He pump fakes, and then it's an overthrow. I believe it was to Cameron Latu over down the deep hash, the deep side of the left side of the field. But he had a pass catcher wide open. He could have hit if he just wouldn't have hesitated to pull the trigger. But he also had pressure right here. So like I don't know how to play quarterback, bro. I can't tell you. All I could do is watch the film and say, yeah, he could have did this. But we don't ever know what's going on in these quarterbacks' minds. Even on the Brock Purdy sack, right? The dude hiked the ball. He thought his running back was going to pick up the pressure, and he didn't.
Oh, man, Ty Davis Price, he is hopeless with pass blocking, man.
That's my point.
You're 230. Why are you diving at people's feet like you're a wide receiver trying to cut block somebody?
But that's my point. If the quarterbacks come out with the mindset that they're protected and then they're not, aren't they going to become indecisive?
It's reasonable, but they
got to find a way to shake it off is my point. But it's hard to shake it off if you know you're going to get hit. like without any protection, unless you have the instinct, which to make a move, which is not always easy. That's how quarterbacks get hurt.
Yeah, I just honestly in the first game, Trey just man,
It
it
was
was
just
just
his
like
first. Yeah,
he won't ready to be out there or something, or he was just it's just somebody he ain't played in 11 months more so than anything else. But when I talked about it, I did give him the grace of his line in his 11 months. But the thing that impressed, which was concerning to me in week one, which was impressive in week two, was his ability to get away from the rush and keep plays alive. In the week one, it seemed like he had anchors on his feet or something. That was something holding him down or somehow. Like why he can't move, and so that's what was concerning to me. I was like, man, he can't even avoid this rush or nothing or extend the play. And in this game, he looked faster, and I guess maybe being decisive makes you look faster.
could be, could be.
But
Good point. Listen,
but
man.
that's all I got, man. You gotta jump in this meeting, man.
All right, man. Thank you for joining, bro.
All right.
All right, peace. All right, man. We're gonna end this segment off with the one and only Gammon Brown, and he's ready. I could tell he's fired up. Gammon, I'm gonna sit back because this is a moment of clarity for me. Every time you join the show, I get to kind of like just get the reasonable doubt from you. So I'm going to sit back, relax, and let you take us away.
All right, absolutely. Yes, sir. First thing I wanted to start off with is, and I'm going to put this in the Discord, but for the NBA championship, I have the Boston Celtics, not the Celtics. They're pronounced wrong. It should be the Boston Celtics versus the Kings, and the Sacramento Kings are going to win the championship this year. But let's get down to the meat and potatoes. Breezie, please don't do that to me. But somebody can sniff that out. That's a good look right there. That should be like an emoji or a GIF somewhere. But I do think it's sad whenever we see a player lose their starting role due to injury. I agree it's not fair, but sports is one of those things where, especially in the entertainment industry, is rarely fair. Alex Smith went through so much being a 49er. We as fans, not me, but as fans collectively, even drug his wife out and his name out in as far as talking bad about him. Appreciate you, brother. Salute. And we left him for dead 2 or 3 times. There's a reason why Alex Smith was named the Phoenix. And it was sad for me to see him lose his job just from so much what he went through. And I felt like everything he went through, I went through it with him, just watch him do that. But it was great to see the rise of Colin Kaepernick. But as it is, I'm not going to hate on a young 20-something-year-old man. I do think that Brock can grow and get better. So I'm going to rock with Brock. And if something happens to him, I'm going to dance with Lance. That's just how it's going to be. I'm not going to simp for Sam, though. I won't be doing that. But as far as other things go, watching some of these players on the depth chart injured, and I would ask you this, Breezy, are any of these other players in potential of losing their starting jobs due to injury? Do you think there's a chance that Elijah Mitchell could lose his job to Mason to injury? Do you think Gray could now be on the outside looking in next year, maybe losing his job? You think he'd be losing it to Bell?
Yeah, I mean, look, the key to football is to not get injured. You got to understand that regardless of where players get drafted, like they're all stars. Every player that's in the NFL has been an all-star at some point in their career. Now, can they make it as a Pro Bowl player on the NFL and all-pro at the NFL level? That's to be determined. But, to answer your question, any position, I feel like no position is safe once you're injured, because once you're injured, technically you're considered damaged goods, right? So it's like going to a store, getting a product, right, and then returning it because it was broke, and then they're like, okay, we can probably try to fix it or sell it for cheaper and just put it back on the shelf, but it's got to be labeled damaged good to the next consumer that buys it, so they'll get a huge discount. So like for Elijah Mitchell, I feel like him coming back can be so beneficial to the 49ers offense, the way they run it, and we've seen it, right? So it's not like we need proof, right? We saw exactly what Kyle Shanahan wants to do, right? We saw it last year. It's just that he couldn't stay healthy. I think he's that much of an upgrade. No shout at Jordan Mason or TDP or any of the other running backs, but it's still a big drop. So it's Christian McCaffrey who's up there, and then I think Elijah Mitchell is like right here. And then there's a little drop off from the other guys, but if he's not healthy and they see a rise in these other guys, I think Jordan Mason can be running back too, just like I think TDP can be running back too. It all comes down to the situation and where Kyle's putting them out there. So yes, to answer your question, I think so. And as far as Danny Gray, if you're not healthy, you can't be on the field, and you're seeing an emergence of this kid that they drafted in the 7th round from Michigan named Ronnie Bell, and he looks like a wide receiver that has been playing in the NFL. It's one thing when you do it in practice, right? But when you do it in a preseason game against other NFL caliber players, I mean, it's hard to like denounce what he's doing. Does he make mistakes? Absolutely. I mean, even professionals that play the sport for years are going to continue to find ways to make a new mistake. So, yes, to answer your question, I said all that shit to say yes. Yes.
Absolutely. And then last two comments I kind of want to bring up because I think it kind of got lost in the chat. What I found was interesting. I haven't really seen anybody else really talking about this. And you do a lot of content writing, not just podcasting. So just to kind of hear you theorize or maybe expand on this. One of the questions I want to give a shout out to Stovey 4x4xing. One question he asked was, are we going to get two 1,500-yard wide receivers? And I guess the question I want to ask you is, are we going to get 2,000-yard receivers? Will we have two receivers eclipse the 1,000-yard mark?
It's funny because, like, you know, I want to say, yeah, I feel like they'll two receivers. Will they have two players? Yes. Two receivers. That's where I want to say yes, because now you're asking Deebo Samuel. So, because to me, those are your guys that are going to see the most volume. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. As much as I love Ronnie Bell and Jawan Jennings, I just don't think the volume is going to be there for them to reach or eclipse that 1,000-yard mark. But if you're going to add George Kittle into the equation, there's a possibility. And then you got to look at the type of offense that we run. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of bombs down the field for 70-plus yards or things. These are all kind of intermediate routes, and the players get the ball and they kind of make a play. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think they can get two receivers at 1,000 yards. I think if you stretch the field from the medium routes out and let Brandon Ayuk handle those levels, and you keep Deebo to do some of that and the quick throws and the underneath stuff like the screens and things like that, man, like, yeah. So I think 1,000, yes. 1,500, that's going to be almost impossible because you still got a tight end, you still got a running back. They're going to take up pass catching yards, receiving yards, excuse me. And so how do you use that? So if George Kittle gets us 500, I'm cool. If Christian McCaffrey gets us 300, I'm cool. And now, you know, because we think about the total yards for a quarterback. If Brock Purdy is a starting quarterback, is he getting 5,000 yards this year? Right.
I think it'll be around 3,200, 3,300.
Typical 49ers Kyle Shanahan quarterback. That's what he wants you to do.
Production range. And then another thing as far as receivers go, what did you see out of Coletto? And do you think that I feel like we don't use Juice enough in the receiving game? And then I know it's very early, way too early to tell with Coletto, but do you envision like Juice potentially could be fighting for a roster spot next year against Coletto? I know that's kind of...
It depends if they can even... Coletto scores a touchdown, so now the Niners have another player that's going to be on the radar for other teams. Like, who is this guy? No one knew who Jack Coletto was. And now he comes out there, and it's not the touchdown that it's kind of like how he did it, right? So like he gets the ball, like, right, nice little out, gets the ball and makes a play. He makes a move, right? Defender comes at him, he kind of shies the defender out of the way and gets into the end zone. That's on film. If the 49ers cut him, which they're gonna have to, there's no way I feel like he'll make the 53-man roster, but there's a possibility he makes the practice squad, and that's what the 49ers are probably hoping for. Going into next season, it's that contract of Juice's. Like, do you pay him if you got a guy that can probably serviceably do some of the same things? He's just not there yet, but we're willing to develop him. Does he get the Robbie Gold treatment next year? Like, that's the question. I don't know. I feel like Juice should be a 49er until he retires because he helped change the way that this organization is. He helped change the culture of the organization. Like, he brought a different, style to the way that the 49ers run their offense, and he was the perfect piece that Kyle Shanahan could use. Hence why you saw more of him at the earlier tenure of his career at the San Francisco 49ers, because they had less weapons. So you overutilized Juice because you overpaid him. Now you don't have to overutilize him because you have the weapons. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Juice next year.
All right, last comment, and then I'm going to go ahead and hang up myself. But I think that somebody brought something up that I felt was kind of interesting. Mike Rotonda.
Yes.
He said CMC is definitely all around better, but I think running the ball, Mitchell is a very good running back. And so I don't want to get flamed from the comment section, but I might. But I have this question to ask for you, and I think it's controversial, right? It's something that I think a lot of us as 49ers fans are thinking, but it's not something that you say out loud.
Okay.
I think that CMC is clearly the number one best receiving option out of the backfield. However, and this is where I'm going to get myself into trouble, I think that he's the third best running back as far as rushing the ball. I actually like Elijah Mitchell better running the football, and I'm kind of throwing this out there too. I think maybe Jordan Mason. Maybe,
hell no!
But I don't think he's the best rushing running back on the team. He's the best overall running back, but I don't know.
CMC's
the foot and mouth
CMC's the best running back on the 49ers. Even running the ball. Like he's the best at it. He like you gotta pay attention to the way like he prepares and the way he kind of like goes out there and attacks the game. And if the offensive line is getting him set behind the line of scrimmage, like he kind of knows how to counter that. It's like he's setting himself up to be better later on in the game. Like that's a mentality that I don't think any of the other 49er running backs have. And that's what separates him. I think he's the best overall running back. I'm not even take away the pass catching. CMC is a truck. Like, you watched him literally truck people, and you're saying this little kid can truck, like this little guy can truck. Yeah, like he has that mentality. He's a bowling ball, right? I do like Elijah Mitchell, but I feel like he's just he might be more of a pure running back with speed. But he's still not going to be, he doesn't have the same vision as CMC. And I feel like running backs need vision. Like they still need to know if the hole is skinny enough for them to fit through. And if not, can they bounce to the outside? And I think that's what CMC does. I don't feel like Elijah Mitchell does that. I know Jordan Mason doesn't do anything clear and come close to that. He's hitting the hole at 100 miles per hour and he's going to bust through like the hole. Like that's Jordan Mason. So they're different, though. They're all different. And maybe it comes to preference. So that's why you're not wrong. It's just your preference. Do you feel like Elijah Mitchell might be a better running back, or like just natural running back than CMC? But you must have missed CMC in his Carolina days. And I think that's what you're going to have to go back and watch.
Yep. And this is on this comment, Eric Dane, you made my day. And this is where I'll take my leave. And thank you so much, Breezie. But he said, your head is in the clouds, my guy, literally and figuratively. So with that, salute. I appreciate you, Eric Dane. Have a good one, Breezy.
All right, Gammon, man. Thanks for joining the show. All right, guys, do the 49ers wide receiving core pump fear. And you had me this whole time there was a typo and the thing and no one said anything. That's what happens when you do stuff on the spot. You don't have to like the spell checker like correcting you right there on the spot. But that's what this live show is all about. Making mistakes and learning from it. Do the 49ers wide receiving core pump fair into the NFL defenses? And I'm going to say yes. And here's why. Because the 49ers wide receiving core today has a different mentality than they had yesterday. The mentality is we will not be bullied. Now, when you have a core of wide receivers that are willing to set and lay you on your ass in the running game, I probably wouldn't mess with those type of wide receivers. It's not just about what they could do in the receiving game, it's what they bring to the run game. The 49ers have the best blocking wide receiver in the NFL on their team. His name is Jawan Jennings, with Brandon Ayuk like right there. I don't see Debo getting too dirty, but Ronnie Bell, he wants a spot on this roster. Guess what he's going to have to do? Block, right? Remember Danny Gray last year said no block, no rock? I'm telling you, that's a mantra that this 49ers wide receiving core must stick to. They just added another wide receiver in Anthony Miller. So we're going to kind of like, we're going to figure out, is he that type of does he have that same type of mentality? It's not just about them laying the law down and running over guys, because wide receivers don't always look for contact. They definitely want to get into the end zone unscathed and things like that. But listen, if they have contact come in front of them, they are not willing to shy away from it. They will take that contact and be the best out of the contact. So that mentality, it's the mentality that to me I feel like is going to pump fear. And then when you add in the route running and the scheme and the speed and all of those different types of things that Kyle Shanahan can work with, I don't think these NFL defensive backs are going to be able to kind of like get a hold of these 49ers wide receivers. As long as they have the ability to get open, which they can. I feel like the 49ers have wide receivers that can get open. Jawan Jennings is like open on almost every play. He's bigger than every nickel back that's out there, and all you got to do is throw him the damn ball, and he'll probably come down with it. But Ronnie Bell, to me, he is trending upwards. He is stepping and taking a stride forward. I think he's going to fit right into this dog pound of wide receivers. And as long as that mentality stays sharp and as long as they have the mentality of being the bully, I don't like to use the word bully. Can't really think of another word. How about I change the word bully? As long as they continue being the aggressor, they will continue to pump fear into the NFL defenses. That's just my take on it, man. You can disagree, you can agree. It's totally up to you. We got a poll question we want to get to. Then there were a couple of questions that I felt like I starred in the chat. We might have already got to them. I see one from 490 East. I'm definitely going to tack on to that. But let's go ahead and get this poll popping. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. 155 votes. Which 49ers wide receiver, okay, which 49ers wide receiver pumps the most fear into the NFL? Like which one? Which one is it? I gave you 4 choices, all right? I gave you 4 choices. Now, I thought I ended the poll. I don't know where the poll went. But the winner of the poll, there it is. Which 49ers wide receiver is the most feared as a dog? That was the question, all right? That is the question. And the answer is 46% of you said Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel is the most feared as a dog. Interesting, because you're seeing a different level of dog from Brandon Ayuk this year, right? I'm just like, whoa, a different level of dog. You're seeing a different performance level of dog from Ronnie Bell already. And you guys are sleeping on Jawan Jennings. I want y'all to continue to sleep on Jawan Jennings. He might just be one of the top dogs on this team, especially at the wide receiver position. All right. Listen, guys, we had a great show today. I thought you guys were super interactive as always. Shout out to everybody out there in the chat. Listen, my last and final take. All right. Final take. Here's what I love about the 49ers. I feel super confident in this team after watching that last preseason game. I thought the first preseason game was a bunch of evaluation, right? Things I want plays set up. I want to see how these players can run it, how they react to it, how they respond to it. When I watched that first offensive team come out there in this game against the Denver Broncos, and they weren't even full, all right? There was no Trent Williams. There was no CMC, all right? Ty Davis-Price was the starting running back. There was no Elijah Mitchell. When I watched them come out there and walk or march down the field to get into the red zone, I'm saying to myself, this team ain't nothing to beep with. And so I am super excited about the San Francisco 49ers this year And it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't matter if the quarterback is Brock. It doesn't matter if it's Sam. And it doesn't matter if it's Trey. I think what matters is what they can actually do when they get into the game. That's the only thing that matters. And I think the way that the team is set up is built to win. And I think any quarterback could come in here and do it. They're going to do it differently. They're going to do it a little bit differently. Each quarterback possesses their own way of handling things. But I think the 49ers are set up for success. And I hope you guys feel that same way too. Before we get out of here, we got my man Dion. He's going to jump on real quick. I would love to hear what he has to say. And then we'll go ahead and end the show. D, what's going on, baby?
Breezie, big dog, what's going on with you, bro?
What's good, fam?
I'm good, man. You know, just chilling. You know, another day in paradise.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm alive, so that's pretty much good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So what's your take and what's your spin on things, man? What have you seen so far that you like and dislike?
I like Ronnie Bell. Shout out Michigan.
Yeah.
Shout out the Wolverines. Do appreciate the product. Thank you much.
Yeah.
Jake Moody looked a little bit better. You know,
so what made Jake Moody look a little bit better?
The fact that he hit 3 out of 3.
Oh, okay. So why is that a little bit better?
Because his last game he didn't look so good. He missed
so why isn't he just not fucking better?
I'm giving him a little bit because I'm taking.
Nah, son. Like I don't understand. I'm trying to understand the cement. The dude went 3 for 3 and missed the extra point. I'm not sticking up for him. This could have been anybody. I know people feel like I want to know why he's just not better.
The thing is to be honest with you, I think every content creator has said it. And shout out to Tim Ryan and Greg Papa. I don't shout out Greg Papa a lot because I feel like he's very much a homer. And you know he's a Trey Lance hater, so I don't really care for him. But he is going to have to get used to those wins in Levi's. It's California is disgusting. The wind could be blowing one way the whole dang time, and in 2 seconds it goes the other way. Mm-hmm. So you know the whole kind of breaking up the classes, whatnot. Oh, whoa! I didn't say all that. You know,
well, I mean, look, this is the context. He barely made the last one. Last time I checked, like almost doesn't count. So the shit went in. Period. End of discussion. Drop the mic. There's no barely make it. Matter of fact, since when do we track barely making fucking field goals? I'm curious to know when we track them. I think we just want them to go in by any means necessary. Is that me?
It is hit or miss, bro.
I mean, when Robbie Gold barely makes something, do we say he barely made it, or we just count the 3 points and wipe our brows?
Count the 3 points, wipe our brows.
Like we gotta stop being extra about the stuff. But Kenny, does he have room to improve? Yeah, he's a rookie.
Yeah, I think so. So I can give you that, Breezy. He got better. I'll give you better. I was a little, you know, I guess I was concerned, you know, because the first time it happened, I was like, maybe it's nerves. But then, you know, when he came out and he got these last 3, I was like, okay. But I think the thing with Moody is, I think what he'll do is he'll go out there and he'll figure it out. He looks like the type of kid, like, hey, look, I ain't got no choice. I got to figure this out. Because I don't believe that they're going to keep Zane Gonzalez, especially when they spent the 3rd round pick on Moody. It just doesn't happen.
It doesn't make sense. But they may trade him, or they'll cut him in if nobody picks him up.
Huh? You never.
He's not going to the practice squad. He'll just be chilling, looking for a job.
Yeah, he definitely would. But as far as the whole Trey Lance situation, he looked a lot better. I criticized him the last time out.
Wait. So Trey Lance looked a lot better, and Jake Moody looked a little better. See, that's the shit I'm talking about.
Okay,
like,
but I'm gonna give you my reasoning behind that.
No, but at the end of the day, better is better. Like, you can't put fucking lot or little in front of it. Did they improve from last week? That's the question. I'll
give you Trey Lance was better. All right. So I'll be a lot.
But what I get the lot. I get the lot better. I get where you're going with it. I'm just saying you got to be consistent. You can't say he was a little better because he missed the extra point but kicked 3 field goals. Like, and then Trey Lance comes out there. He had a couple of interceptions drop. I'm not pushing back on Trey Lance, but he definitely looked better than he did week 1, right? So I'm just saying, did he look better? Continue. My bad. You should have never
No,
came on here when I was trying to get off.
Breezy is all good. People don't understand. Say sometimes the Michigan in you jump out a little bit.
No,
And
this
it's
ain't
not,
got no
but listen
because
to
I just attacked you for saying that Trey Lance looked a lot better. He ain't go nowhere near Michigan. I'm just saying.
No, not that. I'm just saying, look, Ronnie Bell is a superstar in the making. I love that kid. He is going to be fantastic in this system. If Ronnie Bell somehow magically gets cut, we just screwed ourselves out of a great
That's
player.
not happening.
That's not going to happen.
Listen,
but with what he's been doing, the man had over 100 all-purpose yards in the first game. He balled out this game. I'm like every time I see him catch the ball, I'm like, oh snap, what is he going to do with it? Like I literally am on the edge of my seat. Yeah.
Even on the return game.
Yeah, Trey Lance, here's my thing. I never understand the haters. I don't understand the national media. Dan Orlovsky, you have no reason to talk. I'm sorry, sir. You did not have a career worthy of being able to talk about any other quarterback ever. You got on national television, had the nerve to tell Jimmy Garoppolo to stay out your lane from running out the back of the end zone. So, sir, I'm going to need you to just calm all the way down. Mike Lombardi, you should be backhanded when I see you. Backhand. I'm talking about pimp hand. You owe me my money. I'm talking baby powder from how high? Where my powder at? That's what I'm talking about. For your comments, you never in life ever mention somebody's parents, their mama, their daddy. I don't care who it is. Don't bring nobody family in. That's disrespectful. But he did. He improved. He was hitting things. He was doing exactly what he was supposed to do. He led us on a game-winning drive. Like, I don't know what else people want from the kid. Like, I don't. And I don't understand why there's so much hate behind Trey Lance. Like, I'm anxious because if you didn't know, Breezie, there's a documentary coming out on black quarterbacks.
Okay.
Headed up by Mike Vick, Warren Moon. I believe Randall Cunningham is in there as well. It's just giving people an education of our evolution. Because this is not a position that was ours individually. It was not. I can tell you right now, the black quarterback didn't come around probably until Warren Moon. Maybe. I'm pretty sure maybe there was a couple more. But I'm saying
Doug Peterson before him. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins.
He did, but he's the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, not the first black quarterback. Okay. He is the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Yes, that is correct. He won it with the Skins in the 90s. But I'm just saying, like, I don't understand why. Like, I need them to tell me what you're seeing that just tells me that these people are so bad. You know why? Because I'll give you one fantastic quarterback that sucked his rookie year, and his name was Peyton Manning. He was 4-11. The man set the league record for most interceptions by a rookie quarterback. Did you hear anyone tearing Peyton Manning down like that? No. Well, he's a rookie, he doesn't understand things, and he'll come along, Peyton's very smart, blah, blah, blah. But Trey Lance, he's not smart, he's stupid, he's worthless, let's get rid of him. No one cares. Why is he even here? He shouldn't be in the league. His mama dropped him on it. It's like all this stuff, like, come on, bro. Like, honestly, if I'm Trey Lance, my first question is, what did I do to you to make you want to criticize me so harshly?
Doug Williams.
Like, I didn't even barely played any games for you to make an assumption on who I am. My own fan base can't even barely make an assumption on who I am, even though there are people within the fan base that automatically feel he's a bust and we should move on. But it just doesn't make sense to me how the young man is treated and how unfairly he's treated. So I think he did some great things in the last game. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Moody for making those field goals and keeping us in the game. Thank you, Trey Lance, for getting us down the field and doing what you did to be able to make sure that we had the opportunity to be able to get in there, you know what I'm saying, and have that chance. I thought it was a little funny, though, when they bumped him a little bit and he fell, but he was trying to, just position the ball properly.
Yeah, in the center.
Yeah. But I'll say this. I'm out on TDP. Failed experiment. Kyle, stop drafting running backs. Just don't draft any more running backs. You
really?
Fail at it, Kyle.
Is it because he missed the block? Because he ran well. So he did get the ball to the end zone so that we can get in
He
the
did.
end zone.
I don't know, man. It's just it's not. I don't see it. I honestly see Jordan Mason as the number 3 at a minimum. Elijah Mitchell was number 2 if he could ever stay healthy. Good God, I would love for Elijah Mitchell to be healthy, but he on his way to being Jalen Hurd if he can't get his knees together.
It's possible.
It's possible.
It's,
Love with
it's,
the
it's,
top. What?
it's
Go ahead.
something about it's something TDP does different. I don't want to say better, but does different than Jordan Mason. Or they could just be wanting to see more of him right now, and maybe
I think
Jordan
they
Mason.
do because I think this last game you're going to see a lot of TDP. If I'm Kyle in this last game, I'm telling you right now, my first quarter is going to be half Lance, half Darnold, and from second quarter on, Brandon Allen, get out there and do your job. I wouldn't put nobody else because it's the last game, and these are people that are trying to make the squad, so they're trying to make a name for themselves. So whoever they hurt means nothing to them. As long as they get on the squad, that's what they care about. So for me, that's just what I'm thinking. If you want to play anybody that you feel is already on the 53 at all, but I think you'll see some TDP. Hopefully, I love what D Winters was doing out there. I love what Marcelino McCurry Ball is doing. Thank you, Jair Brown, for saving that touchdown. On the blown coverage. I think we're going to consistently improve. I think our first couple of games is going to be some ups and downs. I don't like the non-pressure that we had and that gashing up the middle. It's not good. And we had our 2 starting defensive tackles in there. That didn't look too good.
But you don't have Nick Bosa out there.
Yeah.
So
and that's what I'm starting to get nervous about. I don't like the fact that he ain't signed yet. This is making me very uncomfortable.
Well, I said that
need to figure out what to do. Give him his money.
I said that to say, without Nick Bosa, down you just add doubles to different parts of. There's no one you fear on the exterior, on the outside. So now you're going to put the guys to kind of do what the Eagles did in the Super Bowl, and kind of push that defensive line out the way, where they're sending people at one guy, sending 2 people at one guy at the same time to kind of push them out the way. So that's going to happen. That's why Nick Bosa is. He's a very important piece to the 49ers defense. And then if you want to see better play on the back end, I'm wondering how many players Nick Bosa helps make a little bit better. Does he make the safeties better? Will he make Isaiah Oliver even better?
He makes the whole defense better. Isaiah Oliver has been a disappointment.
That's my point. I
don't think what he brings is going to make Oliver better. Oliver has been missing.
As far as a pass rush, Oliver sucks.
Yeah.
I think Oliver is just not. I thought he was better in run defense. Man, I miss Jimmy Ward. I miss Jimmy Ward.
Yeah.
That might be one of the. They should have found a way to bring Jimmy Ward back, but after doing what they did to him, you knew he wasn't coming back.
He wasn't gonna come back, especially not with the old Kyle Shanahan lie there. You can't lose your job to injury. We all know that's a lie. Jimmy Ward lost his job and so did Trey Lance, but that's a story for another day. But I think overall the team, looked pretty good. I'm anxious to watch this last game. I know a lot of fan bases don't like preseason, don't care for it, but because we're so immersed in it, we like to see what the backups are going to look like. And I'm hoping and praying that, somebody in this game shows up and shows out. I need Sam Womack to get out there and just smack some people in the mouth. I really do. I want him to get out there and hit some people.
He's playing good coverage, though.
He's playing very good
pass
coverage.
Deflections in that game, in his past game. His coverage is good. I'm curious, why not put him at the nickel spot? He doesn't give up big plays.
I think he would be a disgusting nickel.
And he likes to hit and tackle.
Oh, he loves to hit. He loves to tackle. This is why I'm saying when Steve Wilks came, I figured Sam Womack was that guy. He may be a little undersized on the height, but if you put Womack in there with the mind that Steve Wilks has and just let him fuel everything in what Womack does, he's only going to make him better because he's already got the intangibles. He has the speed. He has the ball hawk ability. He's ready. He loves to tackle and hit, all that. So you just fine-tune all the little things, and next thing you know, you got yourself a superstar, man. I think Womack can be a baller in this system. I really do, and I think he's going to get us more interceptions than anybody. I was a little hurt for him yesterday because he almost had one. He almost had one, but he dropped it. So
Indeed. Indeed. Listen,
But I'll
D.
let you get up out of here, Breezy. Just wanted to stop in real quick and say hello, man. Nothing but love to you. Nothing but love to the Nitty Gritty fam. Continue to keep with the like and subscribe, people. Continue to push Breezy forward, man. He's doing fantastic things. And I'll see you in December, baby.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother.
Peace.
Peace. All right, man. That was my man Dion, Niner Game Podcast. I want to make two corrections. Well, one correction and then two corrections. I think I said it right. It was Doug Williams, not Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson is the head football coach of a team right now. Where is he? Jacksonville? I don't know. Anyway, I know he was the coach of the Eagles at one point, but I think he's down in Jacksonville. And it was Doug Williams, so he definitely wasn't the first African-American quarterback, but he was the first to win a Super Bowl. So I did have that information right. I just had his name wrong. And a shout out to my man, is it Saheed El Amin? I want to make sure I'm saying the first name properly. So you can feel free to yell at me and correct me. I know the last portion. Marlon Briscoe was the first black quarterback, and not to check your references, Marlon Oliver Briscoe. They called him the Magician. All right. He was drafted in 1968. Wait a minute. 1968. Round 14, pick 357. How many rounds did the freaking draft have in 1968 if he was drafted round 14? God dang, that draft must have took 20 days. I'm mad that the draft take 3 days. How did they get to round 14? We stopped at round 7. Interesting. But yeah, round 14, pick 357. This is according to Wikipedia. I always tell my students, don't trust the stuff you see on Wikipedia, but today we're going to trust it. 224 receptions, 3,000. Oh, man, he didn't play him in third. Wow. Wait. He was a quarterback and a wide receiver, y'all. Wow. 224 receptions, 3,537 yards, 30 receiving touchdowns. As a quarterback, 1,697 yards, 14 passing touchdowns, 14 interceptions. That's Marlon Briscoe. He was a wide receiver and a quarterback at the same dang time. Listen, man, great show. Again, shout out to Dion for coming in at the very end. I appreciate you guys for sticking around. We'll be back on Wednesday. All right, same time, same place. All right, listen, got a lot of shows pumped up for you guys. I can't wait. We got a lot of content creating. Make sure if you subscribe to the channel that your alerts are set to on and all. Don't have it personalized because that means you're going to miss certain shows. And we got fantasy football shows. We got picks that's going to pick weekly pick'em shows that's going to be coming out very shortly. You got the Mike and Breezie show that's going to be coming out shortly. So guys, make sure you keep everything on until the next time, y'all. Y'all got to stay up and most importantly, stay faithful, guys. That's what it comes down to. We can sit here and talk about stuff all day. We can criticize things, but our team, San Francisco 49ers, we got to remain faithful, as they would say on Nothing But Niners. Love y'all. Stay up. Keep it nitty gritty. See y'all back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Nitty Gritty crew will be in the building. Let's go.
I be sipping gold bar, whiskey on the rocks, and a 24 karat gold on a watch. My 7-1 Chevy be tipping non-stop, sounding like Trent Williams on the block. So you know we can't stop, we be banging through your speakers. Wayne Breezie on the field or in the bleachers. You can tune into my show and I'm a teacher. Wayne Breezie, the 4-9 preacher.